Hope you're Tickety-Boo everyone. Hieth here, back with another video on a new gimbal. Yes, the one from Moza, but are they too late to the party?
Party on, Wayne!
Party on, Garth.
It's Wayne's World! Wayne's World! Party time!
But before we start, just to point out, this was sent to me by Moza, but I am free to say whatever I want, the good, the bad and the ugly. Now I did say, is it a little late to the party? However, there are some unique selling points about this gimbal. The fact that you can actually sync it up with the slide pod and it interacts with it gives you something other gimbals just don't have. But is it a game changer? Well, in this video, what I'm going to do for you is help you to decide whether it's the right one for you. Now, for today's little joke, how did NASA plan a party? They plan it. Anyway, before we start, if you're interested in any other gimbal videos and things like that, I've got loads of them on this channel from DJI, Zhiyuhn and INKEE, and there'll be a link up here somewhere or it'll be down in the description as well. But if you've got any questions whatsoever about this one or any other ones, then leave them in the comments down below. Now, I have got the Moza Slide Pod E, so what I'll be able to do is link this little beauty up with it and see how that gives you better creativity and things like that, because that's one of the unique selling points that they claim on this one. And I did make a review on that one, or a little video on it anyway, and there's a link up there for that as well if you're interested in it. Right, let's get into it. This has been out for quite a while now, but I wanted to give it a real good old blast before I did a review and gave you my views and thoughts on it, because that's the only way you can really tell whether or not this is going to be any better than the other gimbals that are on the market. Plus, I wanted to get the same sort of footage that I've done on other gimbals so that you lot can compare it, and we'll put some of that in here today, and we'll also have it at the end of the video so that you can compare it against the other gimbals. Now, I do have some gripes about this one, and I will let you know about them in a sec, but Moza, if you're listening to this, then you know, you might want to take them on board for future upgrades and things like that. Now then, the charging time. This takes about 2 hours and they claim it will last up to 20 hours. Now, I've not tested that myself, but it by far outstrips the competition. I think that's the longest lasting one on the market, or the claimed one anyway. And I have been using it fully charged. I gave it a full charge before we went out, and we used it for 2 days on and off. And to be honest with you, it's still got the same charge on it now than what it had at the end of those. It's well over half on it, so it definitely would last you a long time. But I'm sure those 20 hours would be if you balanced it perfectly and you're not using it in fast mode and things like that, because that's bound to have an impact on it. Now, it doesn't come with other gizmos like image transmission and things like that. In fact, it hasn't even got the separate unit that you can buy for the DJI ones or the Weebill 2 and things like that. And you know, the INKEE one that's out there has actually got it built in, so I think they've missed a trick on that. But what you can do, like you used to be able to do on the Ronin SC, is attach the camera, stick it on top of, attach the camera, what am I on about? The camera's on it anyway. Attach your phone to the top of the camera and then use it that way, and you can use tracking mode in it and things like that. But to be honest with you, I didn't find it that accurate on the Ronin SC, and it wasn't that much better on here. But it'd be alright if you just want to use it for small times and things like that. But if you're going to be using tracking a lot, then definitely you're going to need to go for one of those that is dedicated to have image transmission and tracking through your actual camera, because then it's really accurate and it works loads better. But what I do like is this little control wheel on here. It's actually got a lever that pulls out, and it allows you to be able to do precise movements, and it makes it really comfortable. This is it in action, and what you can actually do is change what the wheel will do in the app. So you can have it for focus, you can have it for pan and tilt in your camera and things like that. So do you know what? That's another USP on this one. No other gimbals have that on there, and then that, along with the fact that you can link it up with a slider, makes it a little bit different. And they call it a smart micro hand wheel. Now, there are a couple of other features on here that I'll show you in a second, but before we do, I'm sure you want to see what the footage is like. So let's get out in the field and have a look at that. So what do you think about that then? Let me know in the comments down below. Or if you've got any questions, like I said earlier on, leave them in there as well. So the build quality of this is pretty good. It's nice and sturdy. It's made out of aluminium and it does have this nice silicone grip on it, which is comfortable to hold, and it does really feel like a quality gimbal. Now it's actually quite heavy, and as you can see, it stands quite tall compared to the DJI ones and things like that. It actually comes in at 2 kilos, and it has a payload maximum capacity even of 4.6 kilos, which is pretty similar to the rest of them on the market. Now I also found it a little bit tricky to balance. They did say in the write-up that it's a one-step balance mechanism. Well, actually it's not, because you still have to balance all the axes and things like that. But what they have got is this release plate on the top here that actually, you know, is, to me, to be honest with you, a little bit cumbersome compared to the rest of them. And all of the rest do this anyway, but in a more neater package. Now, the one thing that does stand out on this, like I said earlier on, is the slider itself. And if you look at the app, yeah, there's loads of creative features and things like that just in there. I haven't managed to try them all out, and there is things like mimic mode, so you can control the gimbal with the actual phone itself, and again, just like many others on the market. And as I said, it does do tracking, but you have to put the phone on top of it, and to be honest with you, like I said, that's not a favourite of mine. But if it is something you're only going to use on an odd occasion, then actually that means that this would be a better gimbal than buying the DJI RS2 or the Weebill 2 or even the RSC 2, because they don't offer the tracking by putting it on top of the phone. And if you want to get the tracking, you have to pay some extra bucks to get that image transmission kit, don't you? So like I said, if it's only going to be used a few times, then this might be the better one for you. As to the functions, pretty similar to most of the other gimbals out there. You press the M button to cycle through the modes like pan follow, lock horizontal mode and FPV mode and things like that. And then you can put it into their barrel roll mode, which they actually called inception mode. Once you've connected the correct camera cable on here as well, what you can do is you can control your camera with things like starting and recording, taking photos, you can do the aperture, the ISO and your shutter speed. And I like the fact that it's actually got a dedicated S button for your sport mode. So you can actually capture those action sports modes or the fast moving pace stuff just by pressing the button. All of the buttons and joysticks, as you can see, are really easy to get to and nice and comfortable. And like I said, here it is connected up to the slide pod, just like a monopod, but the fact is that the slide pod is a slider as well. And like I said earlier on, I've done a little review on that if you want to check that one out. But what you can do is you can connect it up together just like this, and then you can make some really creative stuff because you can program it, and all the features in the app will allow you to, you know, do different things with it. So if you're into programming it and getting different creative shots for things like I don't know, time lapses or stop motion and things like that, then actually this would be really helpful, and it's designed for that type of person, I would have thought, rather than the run and gunning type stuff, even though this is very capable of doing that as well. But will I be getting rid of my RS2? Moza, sorry, but no. Mind you, if you was to do some upgrades on it and things like that and kept the price reasonably good as well, then you never know. But is it for you? Well, that is a tough question, to be honest with you. It will all depend on your setup, what you're going to use it for, and if you have had Moza products in the past or still own them and you're looking for an upgrade, then it might be best to go for this because you'll be used to the way the functionality and everything else works, because the app itself is the same app as what you've got on the other ones. And also, if you own one of those slide pods, then the fact that you can connect this one up does make it that little bit different. So it could well be the one for you. And like I said, I'm happy to answer any questions whatsoever, so leave them in the comments down below. The footage will be coming up for you in a minute. I'll be comparing it against the RS2. It'll be right at the end of the video for you, just so you can have a look at that and see whether or not, you know, which one's the right one for you. But hopefully you've enjoyed this one. Hopefully you found it a little bit useful, and hopefully you had a laugh at the joke. And if you did, and you don't want to miss out on any future views, reviews, or out and about videos that we do and things like that, then make sure you hit the subscribe button, but I'm sure you know that anyway. Oh yeah, and the bell as well. Now, that's it for the day, everyone. Stay safe out there, have fun making stuff, keep smiling. Cheers for now.